Middlesbrough's clash with Norwich City was not for the faint-hearted after the two teams played out a 3-3 draw. Now, going into the match, that would have been seen as a really quite positive performance and a quite positive result for Michael Carrick's team. But on the balance of play, it was probably a case of 2 points dropped, and that's very much the reaction of Middlesbrough supporters on social media. Now, this channel is going to be exclusively Middlesbrough-based moving forward. There's going to be a lot of Middlesbrough content coming throughout the weeks. So please do hit subscribe if you are a follower of Middlesbrough. Hit like if you've enjoyed this video as well, and drop into the comments below letting me know what you thought of the other match against Norwich City today as well, because there's been a lot of big opinions coming out on social media about the way that Middlesbrough approached the game in the first place, but then also into the way that we managed the game after what was a really positive start, you've got to say. I mean, it wasn't the perfect start, you've got to say. Norwich took the lead early on. It was Borja Sainz who took the lead with a stunning effort from long range. From Middlesbrough's point of view, there wasn't really a huge amount that they could do about it. Norwich played out from the back, and they played the ball to their left side, the left flank. Ben Doak just missed his interception, which wasn't his fault at all. It was good play from Norwich to play out from the back and beat that press. A little bit of strength from Sainz around about maybe about 25 yards from goal. So I'm shrug off Aidan Morris, and then he let rip with a stunning effort, which went into the top corner of the net. Now, that had the potential to really derail what Middlesbrough were looking to do. Norwich are a team who like to attack, very similar to Middlesbrough. They're a very good team. They're a team who are sitting in the playoff places and going into the contest. They're a team who I fully expect to be right up there come the end of the season. But credit to Middlesbrough, they weren't rattled by that. If anything, it buoyed them. It meant that they were able to just really relax. They stuck to their game plan, and it didn't take long for them to find their way back into it. Neto Borges broke down the left for Middlesbrough and crossed a deep ball into the box, and it found Tommy Conway at the back post who hit a volley underneath the goalkeeper and into the bottom corner of the net. Tommy Conway was brilliant during his time on the pitch. There was a little bit of debate about whether he would start the game following Emmanuel Latilaf's winner against Sheffield United. We'll come on to that in a little bit. But as far as Conway is concerned, he couldn't really have done much better, and he got a second goal not long after. Ben Doak broke down the left. Again, it was an area that Middlesbrough clearly looked to exploit. It was on the counter-attack. It was actually as a result of a Norwich corner. Middlesbrough cleared their lines. Dijksteel played it out to Doak on the left side. He used his pace and trickery to really cause some problems for the Norwich defence. Dijksteel, the man who just seems to be putting in stunning performances after stunning performances this season. He's only been brilliant when I've seen him so far this term, but he kept pace with Doak in those attacking areas. He was actually the player who picked up the ball on the edge of the penalty area, and then you could see him pick his head up to see who was supporting him, which was really intelligent play, not something that you really expect from Dijksteel or someone who was a more typical defender. He lifted his head up, played it into Conway, who was to his right, and Conway played a brilliant ball into the back of the net, clipping the post as it went in, which was a really, really good finish and something which will have been a huge confidence boost for him. Middlesbrough absolutely flying at that point, flooding forward. There's another opportunity to score. Hayden Hackney picked up the ball on the edge of the box, let fly. The goalkeeper pulled off a decent save, but not brilliant. He did parry it away, but he did parry it into the path of Ben Doak, who was on the right flank. Doak had a cross shot, a goal, you could say, and it found Finn Azaz, who was at the back post, who bundled it home to make it 3-1 at half time. Now, for Middlesbrough, it was the perfect position to be in. They were up, they were playing well. It was something that we've seen a lot of from Middlesbrough over the last few weeks. They were getting on the ball, they were dominating play, they were creating chances, but this time they were converting them, and that was something which was really, really encouraging. And if I'm completely honest, I thought this video was going to be something that was far more positive. I thought it was going to be a match where it was Middlesbrough putting out a real sort of statement victory after weeks of kind of just falling short. But unfortunately, the second half didn't really go as planned, I guess. The fans at Carrow Road were booing the Norwich team at half time, so their confidence was low, but there was a real reaction from them in the second half. Tommy Conway, he had the opportunity to grab a hat-trick from the penalty spot. Riley McGree got brought down in the area, and he stepped up to take the effort, but Tommy Conway's shot, it was pretty underwhelming. He didn't really get a grip on it. Side-footed it was easily saved, and that really just kind of galvanised the Norwich team, but also the Norwich supporters as well. And then from that point on, it was very much the Canaries who were pushing forward. Sainz, who scored the first goal with that long-range effort, he scored an effort which was probably even better, a curling effort from just inside the penalty area that found the top corner of the net to make it 3-2. Norwich were absolutely on top of their game at that point. Supporters were well up for it, and Middlesbrough looked a little bit shaky at that point, really kind of struggling to hold on to the ball, hold on to the game, and try and see it out. And in the end, it wasn't to be. Across from the right flank, I forget who it was that played it, but he whipped the ball into the penalty area. Seny Dieng was caught off guard, and it ended up sort of clipping the bottom of the post. Before firing off Dieng's feet and into the back of the net. I think it went down as a Seny Dieng own goal in the end. There will be a bit of criticism for Dieng and how he handled it, but he was a little bit blindsided by the cross that came in. He did, I guess, try and keep it out at that near post, and he would have done, but it was pretty rotten luck, to be fair, that it bounced off the post and then bounced off his feet and went in. So I think he will get a bit of criticism for that, but I think he was a little bit unlucky, if I'm being completely honest. But it was it was a match that ultimately ended in a draw, ended 3-3, which was a brilliant contest. One that will undoubtedly go down as one of the best games in the Championship this season. But for Middlesbrough, it's just that feeling of disappointment that the game ended with just a point. Things have been going so well, and as I mentioned, it really looked like it was going to be that sort of statement victory that I feel Middlesbrough have been threatening since the start of the season. Really, I do feel that Middlesbrough have got a big 4-5-0 victory in them at some point, and I thought that was the way that this one was going to be going. That first half was absolutely stunning. We were so good moving forward, and that meant that we were in a really comfortable position. But at the same time, you can't underestimate Norwich. They're a really good team, a very well coached team. Since their new head coach came into the club over the summer. And on home turf, they're a match for anyone. And so I think while it is disappointing that Middlesbrough weren't able to see out the game, I think sometimes you do just have to look at it as a really good game of football with two teams who like to play on the front foot. They like to cause problems, perhaps a little bit suspect defensively, both of them. And that's what ultimately led to a 3-3 draw at Carrow Road. If I'm going to be looking at the other positives from the game, there was a few, particularly in that first half. Ben Doak was absolutely sensational. Before he went off, he was just absolutely central to everything. Every time he picked up the ball, he looked confident, he was direct. He caused so many problems for Norwich's defence, who just had no way of handling him whatsoever. He had a hand in all three of the goals. There was a couple more opportunities that he had to score himself, and also to set up opportunities for his teammates as well. And it was probably his best game in a Middlesbrough shirt, as far as I'm concerned. He's just a real talent. Someone who is destined to play in the Premier League, and someone who's going to be a really good player in years to come. Probably for Liverpool. He is on loan. I've done a video about this previously, about the setup of that arrangement, and it is a straight loan. And he is a player who will go back to Anfield at the end of the season. I don't think there's any real prospect of Middlesbrough signing him on a permanent basis. And from my point of view, this performance against Norwich shows exactly why, because he is just a really talented player. Tommy Conway really justified his place in the starting 11 as well. I mentioned it before about how there was a bit of debate about whether he should start this game against Norwich following Emmanuel Latilaf's goal against Sheffield United. I was firmly in the camp that he should do. I thought Michael Carrick got it absolutely spot on against Sheffield United with the game plan and the way that Emmanuel Latilaf came on and was able to use his pace and energy to cause problems. In the end, this was a very different game against Norwich, but Tommy Conway is a really quite natural finisher. He's someone who complements the players around him really well, and that sort of attacking quartet that we've sort of seen in the last two games of Tommy Conway in attack, and then Ben Doak, Finn Azaz and Riley McGree. It does really sort of seem like the best formula for Middlesbrough at the moment, in my personal opinion. It's a quartet which works really well. Emmanuel Latilaf will run him hard for that centre forward spot, but I think that's a really exciting position to be in. We've got two players who know where the back of the net is, two players who can challenge each other, keep each other on the top of their game, and ultimately it means that we'll always have a striker who is capable of scoring in the team, and it'll be up to them to fight it out to decide who the best person is to to start. Tommy Conway's done his chances no harm with that performance against Norwich. Coventry City are up next, and it'll be very interesting to see who Michael Carrick chooses in that game. But yeah, certainly Tommy Conway's performance at Carrow Road was did more than enough to convince me that he's very capable of leading the line, particularly when there might be some long-term question marks about Letty Laff's future at Middlesbrough after the whole Ipswich debacle over the summer transfer window, or well on transfer deadline day, really, because it didn't really spread much further than that. But yeah, Tommy Conway was brilliant as well. Riley McGree, absolutely outstanding from an attacking point of view again. Really kind of proving what I've thought previously and what a lot of Middlesbrough supporters have thought, but perhaps forgot due to his injuries. But he is really, really important to Middlesbrough's team. He's probably our most effective attacking player. Someone who's just naturally talented, someone who knows how to link up play. He's not selfish. He's not looking for goal every single time. He knows how to spot a pass. Someone who's a real asset to Middlesbrough's attack, and he was absolutely outstanding as well. I think going into the next weekend against Coventry, I think there will be some lessons that Michael Carrick's team will want to learn from this. We do need to be better at seeing out matches similar to this one. The fact that we were in a 3-1 lead before giving it away. I know Norwich are a really good attacking team. I know that the crowd at Carrow Road were up, and they're all valid factors. And I think on this occasion, from my point of view, I do just see it as two excellent attacking teams going head to head in what was a really entertaining game of football. But if Middlesbrough are to be serious about challenging for the top six and challenging for promotion, this is exactly the sort of game that they need to be able to see out. They needed to be better in terms of managing the game. A 3-1 advantage is comfortable. They should have been able to see it out and take fewer risks and try and keep Norwich at arm's length to nullify the threat, and really just try and make it a really boring second half. But Middlesbrough didn't really do that. They did try and push forward and try and get maybe another goal themselves, which was perhaps a little bit naive. And maybe that's something which could be a criticism that's pointed at Michael Carrick fairly often, to be honest. I think the fact he doesn't really seem to have a plan B. Often it's in the instance of chasing a game, but I think when they are leading, it's also very important that he's able to see out the game, shut up shop a little bit, let's say play a little bit defensively, and just ultimately be able to see out the game for what would have been a really, really valuable 3 points. Had Middlesbrough won against Norwich, we would have moved into the top six, which would have been outstanding. But instead, with just a point, it's Norwich who stay in the top six, Middlesbrough stay in 9th in the Championship at the time of recording. And it was a positive result in the end. I think a lot of people probably would have taken a draw away at Carrow Road going into this one, but I think given the context of the match, just how dominant we were in the first half, I think we really should have put that game to bed, seeing it out for a really important victory, and then been able to kick on and take that victory into the other weeks ahead. So let me know what you thought of Middlesbrough's performance against Norwich. There was a lot of positives on display, but there was also a lot of negatives as well. I'm very aware of that. So let me know your verdicts on the match against Norwich City in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit like and hit subscribe as well. As I mentioned, this channel is going to be exclusively Middlesbrough moving forward. So if you are a follower of the club, then please do hit subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more content coming over the coming weeks. And hopefully a positive result to bounce back from this disappointment at Carrow Road. Catch you later.